Hi everyone, welcome to day 2 of Unit 4. Today we're going to be talking about slope-intercept form. We're also going to be talking about standard form, so basically forms of linear equations. So let's go ahead and start. So slope-intercept form we introduced last time is y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. Did I put that in? No. But you might want to write that in so you have it. Slope is your m and b is your y-intercept. Standard form, you guys have seen, it's a number times x plus a number times y equals another number. So a, b, and c are all just numbers. You've seen equations in standard form before, but now you need to be able to make them. So standard form is great to help you find x and y intercepts. So you could use that to graph. Beyond that, it doesn't really have many great qualities. And it's because it has a lot of rules on how you write the equation. So a lot of people don't really use it, even though it's called standard form. So, but anyway, when you do write it, you have to follow some rules. So the form, when you write it with a or x and y on the same side, the a, meaning the number with x, can't be negative. It can't be a 0. There can't be any fractions in the equation at all. And there can't be any common factors between all the numbers. Yeah, I know, it's a lot. So we will talk about those situations as they come up and how to handle them. Okay? So let's try example 1. We're going to write both slope-intercept form and standard form given the point and its slope. Okay? I'm going to be very honest with you. To get to standard form, you're pretty much going to go ahead and write it in slope-intercept first and then change it to standard form. Because standard form doesn't have like, oh, a is your slope or anything. They're not representing specific numbers that you can be given. You'd have to work it out anyway. So I always say just start with slope-intercept form, and then if you need to, you can go to standard. All right? So we're going to write the linear equation. This one we're going to do in slope-intercept. So we were given a point, an x and a y, and we were given the slope, the m. So when we write this out, we're filling in this form. We have the m, but we do not have the b. So what we're going to do is we are going to plug in the information that we do have, the x and y. So we have 2 equals negative 1/3 times the x value, negative 3, plus b. Now we only have one variable, which means we can solve for it. We can find what b is, and that way we can fill in this equation. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify first. So negative 1/3 times negative 3 just gives me 1. I go ahead and subtract 1 from both sides. I get b equals 1. That is my y-intercept. Oops, sorry. Dogs are freaking out. Don't know why. Hold on. I might have to deal with this for a second. Give me one. Okay, I am back. I know that wasn't very long for you. Apparently my dogs heard something and started freaking out. They might freak out again, but we're going to keep going. So we have our y-intercept of 1. And now that we have our b and our m already, we can go ahead and fill in this form, the slope-intercept form. So I'm going to go ahead and take that information and write it in. So this is my slope-intercept equation, my linear equation. This is what I need, okay? And that would be my final answer. Now, to go to standard form, I'm going to use this that I just found for my standard. So I'm going to take my slope-intercept form, and now to change it to standard form, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the x value on the same side as the y. So I'm going to move it over. So here, I'm going to add 1/3 x to both sides. Okay, so now I have 1/3 x plus y equals 1. The problem with it is, even though it looks like standard form, it's not following the rules. It has a fraction in it, which I need to deal with. So the way that I deal with fractions is I'm going to multiply the entire equation, every term in the equation, by the denominator of the fraction. So I multiplied that side by 3, and I'm going to multiply this side by 3. And by sides, everything is getting multiplied by 3. Every single term. So 3 times 1/3 x, that'll just give me 1x. 3 times y gives me 3y. 1 times 3 gives me 3. So my standard form is actually x plus 3y equals 3. And that is my final answer. Okay? If there was a negative in front, I would just multiply every term by -1 to get rid of the negative in front. So making sure that that number was positive. Okay? If there was a fraction anywhere else, I would multiply by the denominator of that fraction. Okay? So now you guys are going to try this on your own. Go ahead and give it a shot. Write down your answers. If you have questions, write them down too, and we can answer them in class. Okay, now we're going to do it given 2 points. So, slope-intercept form, we need a slope and a y-intercept. Now, hold on 1 second, okay, guys? Okay, sorry, I'm back again. Lots of noise today. So now we're going to do this given 2 points. For slope-intercept, we need a slope and a y-intercept. So, we weren't given either of them. Luckily, we were given 2 points, so we can use that to find it. So the very first thing I'm going to do is find my slope. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in that slope-intercept. I'm going to do negative, what is this number? 7 minus 3 over 4 minus -1. I'm going to go ahead and reduce that, and I get negative 10 over 5, which I'm going to reduce again, and I get -2. That number is my slope. Okay? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use that slope and one of these points to find my b, my y-intercept, just like I did on the last example. And it doesn't matter which point you use. I'm just going to go ahead and use this one because it's smaller numbers. So I have an x and I have a y here, and I have my slope. I'm going to plug that stuff in. So I have 3 equals -2, my slope, times -1, the x value, plus b. I can solve for b. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply this. I get 3 equals 2 plus b, subtract 2 from both sides, and I get b equals 1 again. So that's my y-intercept. Using my slope and my y-intercept, I can now write my slope-intercept form. Y equals -2x plus 1. So that's slope-intercept form. The only extra step I had to do from example 1 was find the slope first. Now, to change it to standard form, I'm going to use that same equation, slope-intercept form, and I'm just going to get the x on the same side. So I'm going to undo this. I'm going to add 2x to both sides. So that will give me 2x plus y equals 1. And now I'm just going to make sure I check all the rules. The front number, the a with the x, is not negative. There's no fractions. It's not, this number is not 0, which is great. And there is no common number between all the numbers here. Like, I don't have any common factors. What that means is I can't divide them all by the same number and just be done. Okay? So like 2, 1, and 1, they're not all divisible by the same number. An example would be like 2, 4, and 6. I could all divide by 2, and I would need to do that. I would actually divide everything by 2 and have even smaller numbers. But this one's fine, so that is my standard form. Now you guys are going to try this one on your own. Slope-intercept, and then standard. Alright, so example 3, now we're going to write the equation from a graph. Now when you're writing an equation from a graph, it's actually pretty easy because you're only looking for 2 numbers. So for slope-intercept form, I just need to find the y-intercept and the slope. So where's it crossing the y-axis? Oh, right here. Oop, it doesn't want to point it out to me. There it is. So my y-intercept is 2. Now to find my slope, I would just pick another point, and I think I picked, which one? Ooh, making lots of noise here. I feel like I picked this one, the x-intercept. Yeah, I did. It just doesn't want to show you. There it is. So I picked 2 points, and I'm going to find the slope. I'm just going to do rise over run. So this one, I started here, and I went to the left 1, and I went down 1, 2. So my slope would be, well, I did -2 and 1, but you could also go the other way. You could go up 2 and over 1. It means the same thing. And I got a slope of 2. Pulling those 2 numbers, I'm going to go ahead and fill in this slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. I put in my m, I put in my b, and I'm good to go. So that's my slope-intercept form. For standard form, I'm just going to change it to slope-intercept. So I'm going to use that and change it around. So I have y equals 2x. I need to move my x to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. I get negative 2x plus y equals 2. I can't have a negative in the front here. So I need to multiply both sides by negative 1. And that means every term gets multiplied by negative 1. So negative 1 times negative 2 gives me 2. Negative 1 times 1 gives me negative 1. And 2 times negative 1 gives me negative 2. So my final standard form is 2x minus y equals negative 2. Okay? Now you guys are going to try these on your own. I did give you 2 points to use just so we didn't get confused. Okay? So go ahead and give that a try. Alright, the last thing is graphing a linear equation. It's pretty straightforward. It's not too bad. It's you're graphing one point and then you're going to use slope to find your next point. And that's it. So slope-intercept, you plot your y-intercept first. That's going to be your starting point. Then you're going to use your slope to find your second point. Once you have 2 points, you just go ahead and draw a line through the 2 points, and that's your line. You are more than welcome to draw more than 2 points. I tend to draw more than 2 points, mostly because I need to draw a straight line freehand most of the time, usually on a whiteboard, so I like to draw as many points as possible. But that's just me. You only need 2, especially if you have a ruler, then you're good. Standard form, there's 2 ways you could do it, okay? Step 1 is to solve for the x-intercept and plot that on the graph. Step 2 is to solve for the y-intercept and plot that on the graph. Just like we did when we did functions. You guys just find the x and y-intercept, plot the 2 points, and draw a line through the intercepts. If you are concerned about that, the other thing you can do is change it to slope-intercept form and graph it that way. Okay? So, example 4, write the following equations in slope-intercept form and then graph the following. Okay, so this one's already in slope-intercept form. You don't have to worry about it. Alright, so I'm going to start with my y-intercept, which is positive 3. That means I'm going to put a point on positive 3. I didn't think that was going to happen. I'm going to move you. And I'm going to put a point on, that's not positive 3, that's positive 3. Where's my point? There it is. Then I'm going to use the slope. Now, do you guys see how there's a negative in the front? That negative can either apply to the top or the bottom number, not to both. So I'm going to apply it to the 3. So that means I'm going to go down 3, and then I'm going to go to the right 4 spaces. That'll give me my next point, and I go ahead and plot it. Now that I have 2 points, I can draw my line through those 2 points, and that is my equation. Why is my graph so large? Anyway, and then that's my line. Okay? That's all I have to do. Now for B, I'm going to go ahead and put it into slope-intercept form. So to do that, I'm going to isolate y. Like I showed you guys how to do this in class. We're going to get y by itself. So I'm going to move this 3x to the other side, and I do that by subtracting 3x from both sides. That will give me negative 5y equals negative 3x plus 15. Now I'm going to get rid of the negative 5, and I'm going to divide every term by negative 5. Okay? So these negative 5s will cancel out. Negative 3 divided by negative 5, just the negatives cancel out. And then I have positive 15 divided by negative 5, and that gives me negative 3. So this is my slope-intercept form, and I can go ahead and graph that then. So my y-intercept is negative 3, and I'm pretty sure the line's going to pop up. Of course it will. My y-intercept is at negative 3, and I'm going to use the slope to get my next point. So because they're both positive, I would go up 3, and then I would go to the right 5 to get to my next point, and I'd plot the point. Now that I have 2, I can go ahead and draw my line through them, and I'm good to go. That's all I need to do. Now, I want to show you something else, and this might be a little difficult because I'm doing it with a mouse pad. So, bear with me. I don't even have my mouse with me. I'm just using the little pad on my computer. The other way to do it is to solve for the x and y intercepts. So you could find the x-intercept. X-intercept. I need to write. I'm sorry, guys. It's taking me a little while. To find the x-intercept, you plug in 0 for y. So I would have 3x. And then I plug in 0 for the y. It just gives me 0. So minus 5 times 0. Oof, goodness. Equals 15. Not the best at this, but we do what we can. So that means this will cancel out. So I just have 3x equals 15. Okay, now I can just divide by 3. And my x-intercept is at 5. Okay, so I can use that and I can plot the point at the x-intercept of 5, which is right here. Okay, and then I can do the same thing for the y-intercept, but this time I'm going to plug in 0 for the x. So, sorry, I'm taking a really long time. So I have 3 times 0 minus 5y equals 15. Again, sorry about my handwriting. This will cancel out, so I'm left with negative 5y. You guys can say hi to Porter. He's very interested in what is happening right now. And Porter is my dog, in case you're wondering. You might be able to hear him chomping his lips and puffing, apparently. So now I'm going to go ahead and get y by itself by dividing by 5. Divide by negative 5, I mean. So I get y equals negative 3. And that is my y-intercept. Okay, so I would go ahead and plot my point right there as well. And then draw my line through. So those are two different ways you can do it for standard. This slope-intercept form is always my go-to. Mine personally. You guys have, it's up to you. Okay? Now you guys are going to try these two on your own. I would try checking your work by doing both ways for standard form. That's just me. But if you guys have questions, please write them down. We will talk about it next class. Okay? Bye!